This Taurus new moon has us feeling pushed, pulled, or manipulated, driving us to be more decisive in pursuing our personal passions, projects, and other pursuits, and as we navigate away from conflict toward greater overall peace and stability. If you're excited to see what this new moon in the stubborn sign of the bull has in store for the collective, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell icon so that you can be the first to know when I produce new content and see what the cosmos may have in store for you. Thank you to all of my current subscribers, 756 of you so far, and warm welcome to all of my new subscribers. We are striving for our next milestone of 800 subscribers, and I thank you for all of your help on that journey. Thank you especially to those of you who tune in on a regular basis. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jenny Kern of J. Kernifer Astrology. I produce traditional Western astrology content, general predictive astrology videos for each new and full moon cycle. And I transform lives through astrology, tarot, personal training, nutritional coaching, and mobility coaching. Here on this channel, I use traditional Western astrology, traditional decans, degree astrology, and the symbolism behind the fixed stars, tying into universal themes, symbolism, and the Greek mythology behind it all. If that sounds like something that interests you, and if you would like to work more with me, check that description box below to find out how to get in touch with me. For personal private readings, the only way to book an appointment or to have this conversation with me currently is by email, jkerniferastrology@gmail.com. I have some pricing information below in the description box and on my Facebook page. I do not correspond via direct messages on Instagram, Facebook, or any social media. Although I have a presence on there, this is a way I can protect all of you from scammers, from people potentially scamming you. I will never reach out to you soliciting services. We'll begin by discussing the Taurus new moon and her themes, and then we'll get more in depth and discuss the geometric patterns and aspects involved. The new moon in Taurus 2025 exacts on April 27th at 3:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at almost 7.5 degrees of Taurus, 7 degrees 47 arc minutes of Taurus, which falls within the first decan, the first 10 degrees, which is both ruled and sub-ruled by Venus, planet of beauty, love, balance, and stability. Venus recently stationed direct 2 weeks ago under the full pink moon in the middle of April, bringing much needed closure, clarity, endings, and revelations to our closest one-to-one relationships, especially to any of those relationships that may be one-sided, imbalanced, or in other ways unhealthy or toxic. Before we dive into the Taurus new moon, let's briefly recap this previous lunation. Libra is the other Venus-ruled sign in addition to Taurus. Libra rules our interpersonal relationships. Venus was very strong here under the Libra full moon, not only due to its rulership, but due to its exaltation in the late degrees of Pisces. It's also strengthened due to its stationing direct just 1 hour after the full moon peaked. Whenever a planetary body stations retrograde or direct, its symbolism and energy is amplified. At the time of the full pink moon in the middle of April, Venus was also the most highly aspected planet in the chart of the full moon, further adding to her strength and influence. The mid-April Libra full moon pitted the sun in Aries against the full moon in Libra, activating the me versus we relationship axis. Aries being about me and Libra being about we. The sun represents our core consciousness, focused on Aries themes, while the moon represented our subconscious natures, focused on Libran themes. This is why full moons tend to be so revealing. They reflect the light of the sun back to us. The sun is exalted in Aries due to the sun's return to the ecliptic, initiating spring in the northern hemisphere. This is a symbolic rebirth after a period of DEATH, winter. This is why Easter is celebrated in the spring, on the first Sunday after the first full moon following the vernal aka spring equinox. It symbolizes the return of the king, risen from the DEAD, and our symbolic God consciousness. Just as Jesus is believed by the Christians to have risen from the DEAD, so too does the sun return to an exalted position in the sky, bringing life to Earth as we know it in the form of new plants and baby animals. Under this mid-April full pink moon in Libra, we had the sun on top of Chiron, asteroid of deep soul wounding, creating a spotlight of energy on our deepest soul wounds, pitted against the full Libra moon, So these deepest wounds around our self-sufficiency, our independence, these perceived abandonment and rejection wounds played out in our closest interpersonal relationships and continue to do so as we head into the energies of the Taurus new moon and the mid-May full flower moon in Scorpio. With Venus still in a long-term conjunction to Saturn, one that began way back around January 19th and 20th with its first exact conjunction, it serves to test our relationships. If the relationship is weak, codependent, or imbalanced, with one party feeding off of the energy of the other, it will tend to fall apart, as Saturn brings reality checks. If the relationship is strong, Saturn brings the potential for long-term commitment. The presence of the North Node of Fate and Destiny brings a fated component to the energy, while Mercury's presence, featured in conjunction to this mid-April full moon, brings renewed clarity and revelation coming out of retrograde. A long overdue message, communication, or an apology brings closure as we plant seeds and start our next 13-year journey of Neptune through Aries. Venus ruled both lunations for the month of April, the mid-month full pink moon in Libra, 23 degrees Libra, and the April 27th new moon in Taurus, the topic of today's video. Libra is a cardinal air sign that is all about initiating interpersonally or socially through its charisma, beauty, and charm, while Taurus is a fixed earth sign that is all about establishing stability and balance through consistent rhythms of work, life, play, and pleasure. On April 19th, Taurus season began with the sun ingressing into the sign of the Bull, putting the cosmic spotlight on Taurus energy and Taurus themes. During Aries season, Aries being a cardinal fire sign, the sun emphasized new beginnings and taking initiative. But now that it's in Taurus, a fixed earth sign, we can see those new beginnings through to completion by applying consistent daily effort. Taurus, the sign of the Bull, is about establishing physical and financial security through consistent rhythms of balanced work, play, and rest. We plant the seeds, sow our crops, and then harvest the rewards of our efforts. Taurus is a sign that's all about enjoying the physical manifestations of our hard work, including the natural world, beauty, art, luxury, and pleasure, working only as hard as needed to indulge in all of life's splendor. New moons are about new beginnings, and as with any new moon, the sun and moon are together in the same part of the sky or universe, the sun representing our core consciousness and the moon representing our more subconscious, intuitive, and emotional natures. When they're aligned in the same part of the sky, in this case 7 degrees, 47 arc minutes of Taurus, it offers an alignment of those energies, the perfect energy under which to plant seeds of intention that will manifest not only in the next 6 months, but in the next 9 months. New moons are all about laying foundations, especially in fixed earth sign Taurus, the builder. Taurus new moon themes: stability and grounding. Taurus, as a fixed earth sign, is all about practicality and grounding through the beauty and wonders of the natural world. The new moon in Taurus encourages you to find and establish stability within your own life, especially concerning your finances, home, and closest relationships. Sense and sensibility. Taurus is one of the most practical, grounded, down-to-earth signs in the entire zodiac. You're encouraged to embody its energy not only now, but over the next 6 and 9 months as the year of chaos, we astrologers are calling 2025, continues to unfold. Pleasure and sensuality. Taurus is ruled by Venus, planet of love, beauty, and pleasure. The Taurus new moon, therefore, is a time to indulge in the pleasures of good food and good company. Appreciation and gratitude for home and family. Taurus is one of the biggest homebodies in the zodiac, next to Cancer, as it places a high value on physical security and physical comfort. You can think of the beaver spirit animal and spirit totem feverishly building its dam. Hardworking, family first, loyal, and tireless, the beaver reminds me of Taurus and Bull energy. The key to manifesting abundance is by first appreciating what you already have. Instead of focusing on lack or what could be, try coming from a place of gratitude and appreciating what you already have in your life, especially your family, your home, and the connections that bring us comfort and joy. Mark your calendars, because this Taurus new moon is a seeding event that culminates over the next 6 months and 9 months. The full moon in Taurus 2025, 6 months from now, occurs on November 5th, 2025 at 8:19 a.m., exacting 13 degrees 22 arc minutes of Taurus. It will also be revisited under a first quarter moon in Taurus in January 2026. This first quarter moon occurs 9 months from now on January 26th, 2026 10 degrees, 27 arc minutes of Taurus. 7 degrees, 47 arc minutes of Taurus falls within that first decan, the first 10 degrees of Taurus, which is both ruled and subruled by Venus. Strong, not only exalted in the late degrees of Pisces, but coming out of post-retrograde shadow. Venus is now 28 degrees Pisces, featured not only as the planetary ruling body for this Taurus new moon, but for all of the planets in that multi-planet stellium, or concentration of planetary bodies on the cusp of Pisces and Aries. The north node of collective fate and destiny, around 26 degrees Pisces. Saturn, now 27 degrees Pisces under the Taurus new moon. Venus, 28 degrees Pisces, and Neptune, 0 degrees Aries. The Taurus new moon is a supermoon, meaning that the moon is closest to the Earth in her orbit, intensifying her energy. This is further compounded when we consider that the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, amplifying Taurus themes like fertility and life on Earth. The Taurus new moon will be the closest super new moon of the year, implying that the seeds of intention we're planting in this Taurus life area and where you have Taurus in your chart have the potential to make a positive long-term impact. Supermoons have a stronger pull on our tides and the Earth's tectonic plates, which is why we may see heightened seismic activity. We may see literal and metaphoric eruptions with Mars opposite Pluto, especially with it crossing this powerful Taurus new moon, opposite Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. Comment below, where do you have Taurus and Libra placements? These will be greatly affected by the Taurus new moon. Let's dive into the geometric patterns and aspects involved under the Taurus new moon 2025. Taurus may be ruled by Venus, which is all about indulging in the physical, material rewards of our efforts. But Venus is still coming out of her post-retrograde shadow, and she's still featured in this long-term conjunction to Saturn, planet of karma, restriction, and personal accountability. They're also conjunct the north node of collective fate and destiny on the cusp of Pisces and Aries, the final and first degrees of the zodiac, which is all about endings as a necessary path to forward progress. A period of reflection as to how we invest our time, energy, money, and resources leads to a shift in our values, and a period of dissatisfaction drives change. This conjunction between the north node of fate and destiny and Saturn is a rare event, happening but once every 10 years. And it's even more rare when we factor in Venus's presence. The North Node is about the direction we're headed. It's about our unexpected or unresolved desires and deepest passions. And it's about our spiritual evolution as we transcend those passions. The North Node is Rahu, the dragon or serpent's head. Intense material desires, especially unresolved ones, can become exaggerated and potentially problematic, especially when conjoined with Venus, planet of luxury and beauty. Venus and Saturn can bring endings that lead to new beginnings, and DEATHS, whether that's literal or metaphorical. These DEATHS can be to old habits, old ways of being, layers of ego, addictions, especially in the sign of Pisces, etc. Endings are necessary on the path forward. There are no endings, only new beginnings. Venus conjunct Saturn is common in times of sobriety. Avoid overindulging and overspending at this time. Moderation is key. The aim and goal is temperance. Avoid impulsive temptation when seeking a quick fix, especially once Venus returns to impulsive, at times foolish, Aries in the end of April and through May 2025. We have a grand fixed cross, which first I'll point out the planetary bodies involved, and then I will dissect it. A grand fixed cross in astrology involves planetary bodies placed in the fixed signs. Taurus, fixed earth, Leo, fixed fire, Scorpio, fixed water, and Aquarius, fixed air. They are separated by challenging pressure points, 90-degree angles. Squares. Fixed signs are known for their perseverance and their determination, but also for a tendency to be stubborn and resist change. Individuals who have a grand fixed cross in their birth chart have a strong need for order and structure, but they may also struggle to find a clear path to apply their talents effectively. In the chart of a new moon, this alignment creates a collective feeling of being well organized, but unsure of how to direct our talents moving forward. It can lead to a feeling of feeling stuck among the collective. While a grand fixed cross can present many challenges, it also holds the potential for personal growth. And this is once we rise above our obstacles. Fixed signs are notoriously stubborn, many of whom can hold a grudge to the grave and punish you with the silent treatment. However, by learning to embrace greater flexibility and to adapt your plans as needed, individuals can overcome the limitations imposed by fixed energy dynamics. In the chart here of the new moon in Taurus 2025, we have Mars, 4 degrees Leo, opposite Pluto, 3 degrees Aquarius, crossing the new moon, the sun and moon aligned 7 degrees Taurus, while it's opposite Black Moon Lilith, 3 degrees Scorpio. Mars opposite Pluto brings power plays, control dynamics, and manipulation. Squaring off against the new moon in Taurus, opposite Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. This shows that we're trying to start something new for ourselves, but feel pitted against the agendas of possibly multiple other parties. We may feel stuck or dragged into the middle of conflict, drama, and chaos, whether this is in the workplace, at home, or within relationships. Mars opposite Pluto has been a long-term aspect that exacted 3 times over the past 6 months. This was due to Mars's retrograde along the cusp of Leo and Cancer. The first exact Mars-Pluto opposition coincided with the days leading up to the United States presidential election in November of 2024. The second opposition occurred while Mars was retrograde in the early degrees of Leo, with Mars retrograding along the Leo-Cancer cusp, and Pluto in the early degrees of Aquarius. This was in January 2025, coinciding with the Los Angeles fires. This is the third and final pass of Mars opposite Pluto, so we may see a return to the events that led into the 2024 United States presidential election. We'll see continued themes of fire and karma coming to the wealthy top 2%, anyone with status, power, and influence, and especially those who misuse their power and influence. Mars in Leo is the most heavily aspected planet in the chart of the Taurus new moon, amplifying competitive, aggressive, domineering, hot, fiery warrior energy. We have a lot of fire in the second half of April, especially from April 18th through 19th in the final days of Aries season 2025. This was with the sun exalted in Aries, Neptune 0 degrees Aries, Mercury re-entering Aries post-retrograde, and soon to be at the end of April, Venus returning to Aries post-retrograde. At the end of May, we will see Saturn ingressing into Aries, joining Neptune, and Mars will still be in Leo. Mars is happy in fellow fire sign Leo, but still coming out of post-retrograde shadow. Mars is so strong in fixed fire sign Leo, in fact, we may see even more themes of fire, more drama, more conflict, and more arrogance. Donald Trump is actually a Mars in Leo native, with Mars rising with his Leo ascendant in his birth chart. So this energy is quite visible in his assertive, at times domineering, "ya fired" personality. Mars in Leo is a brilliant placement for anyone in leadership, performers, and anyone in the spotlight. As a Jupiter and South Node Leo native, I personally love Mars in Leo as a placement. It's a pattern that both of my older brothers possess with their native Mars near Regulus in the heart of the Leo constellation, similar to Donald Trump. And also my current romantic partner has his Mars in Leo in that same area. We're returning to the energy of late October, early November 2024. The energy of volcanic eruptions, figuratively and literally. Change unfolding to leadership as we know it as karma unfolds. Karma to the top 2%, to influencers, celebrities, royalty, karma to Hollywood, wildfire, and possibly national attacks. We had the reverse of this energy in the late 1940s, with building tensions during World War II. Pluto at this time was in Leo, opposite Mars in Aquarius. This energy can be quite forceful, with control dynamics and power plays playing out in the collective, as above, so below. Pluto in Aquarius brings up themes of rebellion, issues with freedom and sovereignty, human and civil rights, and it can be quite combative. You're encouraged and reminded to lean into the down-to-earth, grounded practicality of Taurus energy, especially amidst fiery tempers. Taurus represents Mother Earth. Go for walks in nature, practice grounding through yoga, and practice gratitude, which is the easiest antidote and way to shift out of a lack mentality and into a mindset of abundance. Uranus is on fixed demon star Algol, exactly 26 degrees Taurus. Uranus on fixed star Algol, more commonly known as the demon star, located in the left eye of Medusa's head, held in the hand of great hero Perseus in the constellation. Historically, Uranus on Algol coincides with violence on the world stage. Algol and its mythology tie back to Medusa and Perseus, and to losing one's head or losing one's cool whether that's literally, such as during the French Revolution, or metaphorically. Algol is an eclipsing binary star, meaning that two stars orbit one another, with one star periodically passing in front of the other star, blocking, or essentially eclipsing its light. This causes the stars to appear to twinkle or to wink, much like the petrifying gaze of Medusa, which could turn even the bravest of men to stone. Algol comes from Arabic for the ghoul, and it's connected to alcohol, which is believed to allow demons or negative spirits, hence the nickname spirits for alcohol, to take over us when we consume it. This may very well be why alcohol seems to heighten one's more egoic and shadow nature. You're encouraged to avoid alcohol altogether or consume it in very limited quantities over the next coming months, as Uranus travels over fixed demon star Algol and into the early degrees of Gemini in July. This is while that parade of planetary bodies along the Pisces-Aries cusp activates and triggers any addictive or escapist tendencies. So Donald Trump has his midheaven exactly 26 degrees Taurus, where Algol is, and this is while Uranus is transiting over this very public part of his chart, forming an exact square to his Mars 26 degrees Leo, rising with his ascendant, with Mars falling into his 12th house of critical physical and mental health. Uranus brings unexpected curveballs and sudden events that we're forced to adapt to. And when it's on one's midheaven, it can be very public, affecting one's public image, overall reputation, and their career. These are all areas of the chart ruled by one's midheaven and 10th house. If we rewind back to the half moon 22 degrees, the KILL or BKILLED degree of Libra on July 13th, 2024, on that same day, brought the first assassination attempt against then presidential candidate Donald Trump. This was while Mars was coming into conjunction with Uranus at that time. The conjunction exacting on July 15th, 2024. The Mars-Uranus conjunction on July 15th, 2024 was a seeding event. All conjunctions are seeding events, just like a new moon, which brought a literal attack, Mars, quite suddenly, Uranus, to the health and well-being of Donald Trump. For more detailed information, I produced a series of videos in the beginning of July 2024 predicting the multiple assassination attempts against then presidential candidate Donald Trump. I will link them here and in the description box below for you to go back and watch if you are interested and curious. I also dive in depth into the symbolism and mythology of Algol and Medusa. I also went over this briefly in my previous video 2 weeks ago, covering the mid-April full pink moon in Libra, so I encourage you to go back and watch that if you missed it. Comment below, where does Taurus below in your natal chart? Specifically, 7 degrees 47 arc minutes of Taurus. The house will show you where this is manifesting in your life. Remember that the planet represents the symbolism, the sign shows the energy patterns, and the house shows where it may manifest for you in your life, which is all based on your birth time and your rising sign. I will use my own natal chart cast on the screen here as an example. As a 12-degree Libra rising, the traditional house system puts this new moon, 7 degrees Taurus, in my 7th house of one-to-one interpersonal relationships, contracts, and open enemies. Since my 8th house begins exactly 8 degrees Taurus, this is right on the cusp of my 7th and 8th houses, and it would be in the 8th whole sign house of my chart, which astrologers commonly use for simplicity. The 8th house is the house of shared resources and investments, such as through marriage or long-term partnership. This new moon answering to Venus conjoined with Saturn and the north node of collective fate and destiny brings a fated ending that leads to a new beginning with long-term potential for peace and stability. In the workplace, I'm beginning a new position that will bring greater work-life balance, peace, and stability, and I start the day after this new moon exacts. Romantically speaking, my current relationship has reached the point where either it progresses into some sort of a long-term commitment, or we both return to the drawing board to manifest soulmates that are more aligned with our soul's long-term path and potential. Comment below. I'm very curious to hear how you're feeling. What's coming up for you? Perhaps a major decision around this Taurus new moon at the end of April, or whenever this video finds you. Time is but a human construct, after all. Energy is fluid. Whenever this video hits your algorithm and finds your screen, it is when it was meant to. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me, you're a real one. Drop your current most used emoji in the comments. If you took anything away from this video, we ask that you like, comment, share the content, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, we know that you'll enjoy the full playlist and this additional video. Thank you so much, love you, and see you soon.